I've always been an artist, right? From when I was very young in school. I remember doing craft fairs when I was really young in school and selling my work and thinking I was very cool because, people wanted to buy what I made. So I used to be a painter for the longest time. And I'm very interested in all kinds of art and craft. Anything to do with making is my thing. I love it. So I started glass actually. Again, as a kid, I used to have a kaleidoscope, and I would go to these churches and see the stained glass windows, and I would get super excited with the colors and the reflection, and it would really enthrall me. So I had decided very young that one day I'm going to work with glass, and that happened about, I would say, 26 years ago. So I've been working with glass as a medium for 26 years. So it's quite some time.
Indeed. And what techniques do you work with in glass?
I do fusing. I do a lot. Currently, my main thing is to use reclaimed materials. So I use a lot. I use my kiln a lot. And then I assemble them. Like, it's not really traditional mosaic, but I do a lot of, assemblage of glass. I also do stained glass. And I have done a little bit of lamp work, but I'm not particularly fond of it. So it's working with reclaimed materials and stained glass. That is my passion.
And do you incorporate other materials or mediums in your works?
I do sometimes. Like, I use like, if you can see behind me, we have this branch. So this is a branch from a tree that had fallen down in my neighborhood. So I picked it up and I have incorporated glass with it. So occasionally when I'm melting things, I try and put a few inclusions like metal or something. But that's about it. I don't, I also work with fabric, but that's separate. So I work with separate medium, and most of it is reclaimed scraps of fabric or scrap pieces of glass. Yeah.
And yes, you use a lot of used glass, post-consumer glass, as you call it. And like the piece you donated to the IBG collection, you create those assemblages. Could you tell us more about how you bring out the aesthetic from the waste, so to speak?
Yes. So it's been my passion to use and reuse. Growing up in India, it was a question of economy. It was a question of, India has a huge history of recycling and reusing. The whole use and throw thing didn't happen in India when I was a kid. So we would, there were glass bangles, and there were these kind of bottles and stuff like that. And, stuff like this. So to me, it was my raw material to play with. So when I was younger and I didn't have enough money to buy new materials and to experiment with new materials, such things were very handy. They were easily available, and they were, easy for me to collect and work on. So what I do is I take, like, these are from, can you see these? These are from beer bottles, right? So I collect these bottles and these, different things, and I just break them into smaller pieces and fuse them. So it's all safe to touch, and you can get different shapes and, kind of, and then I like to put them together to make art. And most of my assemblages are in the abstract, like what I think. I have a piece. Can I show you a piece?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So this is another one, right? So if you can see, this has a small lavender oil bottle, and there's some other alcohol bottle, glass and all that I have broken, repurposed, and, kind of made it into. So it's got a lot of texture. It's very safe to touch. So even if you run your hands on it, it's safe. And it just has a lot of interest.
And you implement the tradition, in fact.
I implement the tradition, yeah, in the sense that I implement the tradition of reusing and not wasting. So I try to run a zero waste studio. So everything gets, I have this huge, bucket kind of thing, which has all the glass pieces, and I try to use them. I'm not 100% zero waste, but my aim is to be zero waste and to repurpose.
So what is your workplace like? Do you have a piece in progress you would like to tell us about or show it?
Yes, I don't have a picture right now, but I have sent you pictures earlier of my studio space. But currently I'm at home, I'm not at the studio. So my workplace is pretty nice, actually. It's about 1,000 square foot and it's got excellent light and enough place for me to make a mess. So that's nice. I have enough areas that I can mess around in. And another thing is I run a teaching studio. So my thing is, like in India and Southeast Asia, glass doesn't have the same what is the word? The same attraction and value that it has in the Western world. So my aim is to get, and it is difficult to work with, right? So my aim is to get more and more people to realize what they can do with glass as a medium, to appreciate what you can make with glass, even if it's something simple. It doesn't have to be very big commercial projects. Even simple stuff, it's nice if people get an idea that you can play with glass and create art.
Indeed.
So, yeah.
And what is the main source of inspiration for your designs?
It's always nature, always in its, so I think in the abstract. So my work is very seldom realistic, but it is when I look at a beach, what I feel, I try and show. But I can never ever manage to show what is truly in my head, right? There's always, like, my imagination is perfect, and then the reality when I create something is never perfect. But that's okay, that I try.
That's the charm of it.
That's the charm of it. Yeah, yeah. So it's always nature, anything, whether it's a rock or it's the water. Like this, I made a series of these discs. Can you see this? So this is made from a broken window. So I've taken it and I've just colored it with enamels and fused it and then made it into a piece. So everything is nature. So these go like, these go on the wall as wall art and things like that. Yeah.
And what would you say are the main challenges in your practice?
In my practice, earlier on when I started, people just thought I was insane because nobody really worked with glass, right? And here I was full of dreams and thinking I would create beauty out of other people's rubbish. And so what happens is people automatically assume that it is going to be of a low quality because you're making things with scrap and you're using things that other people throw away. So my biggest challenge is to convince the world that what I'm doing has value, what I'm doing is good quality and is of a certain standard. I think that's been my biggest challenge. Because when I started, people would, when I'd say, like, they asked me, what are you doing? And I would say, I'm a glass artist. And they would just look at me and say, why? So it was because there's no history as such. There's smaller glass blowing like bangles and all, but there's no large scale thing happening. So when I started, that used to be the primarily thing is, what is wrong with you? Why do you want to do this? So I think that's it. Sorry?
You persisted, and I think you're succeeding.
Yeah. I have a passion for it. So, and currently what I face is my work is getting more and more intricate and detailed. So let me show you another piece. I have a piece here. This is actually like a bowl. And if you look at it, it's got zillions of small bits, right? So people wonder how I have the patience to do it. But to me, this is joy, like to sit and, kind of work intricately and all. This gives me a great deal of fulfillment. So I'm okay. I'm pretty happy about what I'm doing.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And you took part in IBG 2019 and you will be participating again this year. We'd like to know why you joined the Biennale and what has been your experience.
I joined the Biennale actually initially in 2019. I saw something on one of these Facebook groups that I'm a member of. I think it's Fused Glass Fanatics, I'm not sure. But I saw something about the Biennale. I didn't actually, to be honest, I have to confess, I did not know that there was a Biennale before that. So it was a new thing to me. And when I saw that, I just read up about it, and it seemed very interesting because it was you were asking people from all over the world to participate, and it was a curated show. So you know that you know what's going to happen, and that to me was very attractive. And the fact, I remember reading, I can't remember whether it's on your website or where, but I remember reading something about how it's the mission of your country to bring glass to the forefront and to, you know, kind of get contemporary artists and all that. So that to me, I said, let me try and see whether my work is accepted. And I was thrilled when it was. So that was, and I also wanted to, coming from India, Southeast Asia, I also wanted to showcase that there are glass artists even in this part of the world. You know, we may be a small tribe, but we still exist.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
And it's our pleasure, our mission, the mission of the Biennale, of the forum itself, is to present, to manifest all of those different countries and different artists coming together, united by this fascinating medium.
Yes, yes. And I love that. I love that mission. So I said, let me try to be part of it. And the first year was fabulous. We had, you know, and I can see the difference because the first year I just sent my bowl. I made that little bowl sculpture and I sent it to you. And I wasn't aware about how your customs are and, you know, how long it'll take and all that. But this year, you guys were super organized. We got complete information on what to expect when, you know, deadlines. So there was nothing, I could just create my work. I didn't have to worry about anything else, which is fascinating, right? For me, not to have to worry about anything else. I just need to ship it to you, right? So it was really nicely organized. So that was fantastic.
Thank you for saying that. So we're trying to do our best, and we're improving with time.
Yeah. And it's a lot of effort. You and your team are taking a lot of effort. So kudos to you. Really well done. Yeah.
Thank you. And lastly, in your opinion, why is it important to introduce the public to contemporary glass art, both generally and in Bulgaria specifically?
I think the public needs to know more about contemporary glass art because to my knowledge, I'm not 100% sure, but to my knowledge, a lot of people, when they think of glass or stained glass or anything, they think of the church windows, right? Like in my part of the world, that's the first thing that comes to mind. If you say stained glass, they talk about church windows and then the Tiffany lamps. But a lot of people don't realize that there are other ways to take the medium forward. You know, there is progression, there is innovation, there is new technology, the amount of technology that goes into some of the glass thing. So it's a growing form, right? And the possibilities are endless. So, and for me, my passion with this whole reclaimed materials, I am so excited if 5 more people know that you can, you know, break bottles and make art. For me, the whole thing of using reclaimed materials, if I can showcase that to the world, then I'm happy. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but about Bulgaria, I really don't know, but I'm presuming it's the same, like the world is the same, right? It's to show more people that art is, and also to showcase that art and glass art is a viable profession. A lot of parents in Asia don't want their children to become artists because, you know, you're always starving and you're hungry and you don't make enough money. So it's also nice if we are able to showcase in a platform that you can, you know, live your life as an artist and as a glass artist. I think that's also very important to show.
Yes, indeed. And because in Bulgaria, it is the same. We have a glassmaking tradition, but not that much glass art making tradition, except for stained windows again. So that's why we're also including some Bulgarian glass artists, contemporary glass artists, to show that there's more to that.
Yes, yeah. And people do, when you just have to Google and you just have to hear of people, they do the most mind-blowing work, when you look at some glass artists, it's like, man, like, it is so inspirational to see what people create. So inspirational. So just for the art community and for the glass passion, people who have a passion for glass, to showcase something like what you're doing, and if we go back to the collection and see what people are doing and how people think, and how they respond to the environment around them, I think it's a brilliant thing. It's mind-opening for a lot of people.
Yes, thank you very much for the support, for the participation, and for the contribution to the glass art community in general.
I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for selecting my work, and thank you for having this interview. Yeah.